Hello, everyone. I'm Reaper PC, and welcome to the pop-up stream. I promised y'all. A little bit late for some of you. I understand that, but life was lifing. Finally made it, and as you can probably already tell, I have the white gloves on, which means we have something to open. All right. So this is from Game World, courtesy of eBay. So for anybody who's fine with opening stuff from eBay, that's what we're getting. Um, Let me catch up on chat first and foremost. Lucky first, losing very, and I do mean an extremely close second. Why y'all are using my stream as some sort of gambling race thing? Is beyond me. As you can probably hear, Lucky is on comms. Um, Pyro, what's good with you? Not you using my own face against me. It's good with you, Pyro. Autumn, welcome in. Am I okay? Yes, I'm okay, Autumn. Yes, I know what time it is. It can't be that kind of call if I'm here. If it was that kind of call, I wouldn't be here. Which is, think about it. How often y'all see me stream this late on the weekend? You know,
Make sure you do a sound check. Everybody could hear you.
I hope everyone can hear me. That thing is all the way in the yellow when I talk. You should hear slight background music. You shouldn't be able to hear it too much. YouTube, you can't hear any of that. No music for you. Talk to your YouTube overlords. So, I've been collecting a game series. Oh, let me put this on. There we go. So, this now is what we're going to open. And it is adding to my Sega Saturn collection. For those that have been keeping track of my social media, you probably saw I got a couple of copies of the Panzer Dragoon series. They showed up smashed, which I fixed, by the way. I think even on a stream I showed some of the aftermath, right? The box looked like it got hit by a car that was in the middle of a car accident. Like it was smashed. If anyone wants a reminder of that, do check the Instagram. The carnage is there. Um, I did now repair those. So I have Panzer Dragoon 1, which I got another copy at Dollar Retro. So this is the second copy I got from eBay before of the first one. It was just part of the bundle. It was a bundle of 4 games. I got Panzer Dragoon Zwei, aka Panzer Dragoon 2. That was what I really wanted from that bundle, as well as a couple of Saturn racing games. The duplicates will be either trade in or sellbacks. I'll see what I'm doing there. But now the most expensive one is Panzer Dragoon Saga, because that game came near the tail end of the Saturn's English market production. So there weren't many copies of it, and the console was already not that popular. Although the console was immensely popular in Japan, right? That was kind of the difference with the Saturn versus the prior gen. The prior gen, the Sega Genesis, was more popular outside of Japan than it was in Japan, and then the market flipped, and the decisions they made, they ended up with a console real popular in Japan and not so popular elsewhere. So this is going to be a Japanese copy because it's much cheaper, because it's more common. And we're going to see how well this fared, right, in shipping from eBay given what happened the last time. And for those wondering, the Japanese name is not Panzer Dragoon Saga here. Well, in this version, this is Azel. It's Panzer Dragoon Zwei, Panzer Dragoon Azel. So this is a multi-disc RPG game. This was supposed to be their answer to the RPG craze that was kicking off at the time. This was to be their Final Fantasy VII moment. And this game is still pretty much locked to the Saturn. Now, for those wondering, hey, you're planning on playing an RPG in Japanese? Yes. I'm going to look up and get in an overlay that will translate live as I play the game. All right. So far, the box itself, thankfully, is mostly intact, right? That looks like some decent packaging on the inside, as well as all the branded tape. If you didn't know the store's name, like you do now, right? And lots, and I do mean lots of bubble wrap. Okay. All right. Let go. All right. Now we don't need this, but there we go. Again with the Game World logo, just in case you couldn't tell by all the customized tape who it came from, right? So, for those of y'all collecting for the PlayStation 3, all the news of them shutting down the store and all that stuff, and basically the general consensus around the PlayStation right now has the prices going up on the PlayStation, but conversely seems to have had a chilling effect on the other platforms right now. I've noticed some of the prices have dipped a little bit or stayed the same, not climbed, and I'm happy for that, because yeah, y'all go fight over there in PS3 land, and probably PS2 is going to be affected by that, but I haven't seen it yet. But that allows the Saturn, Genesis collectors, and maybe even Dreamcast. I haven't, outside of LI Retro, I haven't seen what the overall Genesis market is like. Wow, they wrap this tight. Look at this. All right, I probably have to cut more of this tape. No, Autumn, you shouldn't expect to see that. Not for this. Oh, they already have it in a plastic shell, much like I would have put it in anyway. That saves me using a double disc one. Although this one's a little scraped, probably from their shelves. So I might replace it. So one thing interesting here is... Hello, Christopher Ronald Spider-Man. This one has never been opened. This is a new in-box copy. But I do plan on playing the game. So I'll be opening this. So I did pick one where the plastic was already starting to rip. So it's not perfectly sealed anyway. And I didn't have to pay that much extra for it being unopened, so meh. So, alright. The in case, so you can see the condition of this. Can't read any of it. 1998, yeah. They were already on the way to Dreamcast land. Oh, this is the same brand cases I use. Malco. This is the exact same thing. Holy crap. So this is what I said. So for those that don't know, the shrink wrap that covers a lot of products shrinks over time, actually, due to atmosphere exposure. So you can see it was already breaking here at this corner. And look, down in this corner, here and here. So this is already coming off. So I'm not feeling too bad. This game is going to open itself eventually. So I'm just going to open it. So this is going to be a mostly DNA-free copy because everyone was afraid to open it. Oh my God, ruin its value. Yeah, I'm going to play this game. And you can see there's some slight discoloration from this being on a shelf and that plastic coming off. So this isn't the most perfect example. Same thing down in this corner. You can see some discoloration from it, either colliding with the shelf or other games. Same thing here. So this isn't some pristine 10 out of 10, copy. And there's a slight indenture in this spine cardboard right here. probably from the pressure of the actual plastic shrinking around it and pressing it in. So this needs to go anyway. So together, y'all, let me bring the mic towards it. So we're all opening a game from 1998 together for the first time. I know some of the people big into collecting go, oh my God, the value. Yeah, the value. Look at that. That value gone. Won't play it.
Value gone.
This is being bought to be played. It's not like I took it out of somebody else's collection. This is mine. Kiss this goodbye. All right, folks. So the spine, this is the first time this spine's ever coming off the, oh. Now this is actually valuable. A lot of people lose this. The cardboard spine on these. So I believe this is a 4-disc game, so hopefully we have all 4 in here. There we go. Look at that book. First time it's seeing daylight. Well, light exposure, I should say. It's not daylight anymore. Since it was put in here. There's 3 and 4, which leads me to believe that disc 2 is underneath that manual. Let's gently remove the manual. Yep, and there goes disc 2. This is one thing I miss about manuals, right? Like, look at the artwork and effort put into this. The dragon, that Panther Dragoon, hello. All right. Panther Dragoon Hazel, RPG. Oh, there's even an insert in here. Look at this. I still have the registration card. And the poster. Is this the poster? Oh, some inserts from SoftBank. Every single insert is in here. So this is part of why I liked getting... I saw that this was a decently priced, complete in-box. Or in this case, new. So I went for it before somebody else grabbed it. And I saw other people watching it, and they were hesitating to get this, right? Because of the damage to the plastic on the corners. And I was like, y'all hesitation is my gain. I'm buying it. I'm telling you a poster with the manual, how to use the controls. Dave, how you doing? You got to get in on my hat game? Oh, you like the game over joint? Yeah. You can blame me leaving the quarter up one in the car. If y'all are wondering, I don't only wear these on stream. These are like my actual hats. Because the quarter up hat with the, I was going to make it, yeah, I messed that up. I wasn't going out to the car again. Oh, there's another hint guide at the back. Oh, even how to proper viewing position and everything here. So, should we fire this up? Pop in disc 1 and see what we got here. All right, so that's been the unboxing of Panzer Dragoon Azel, aka Panzer Dragoon Saga. Wow, this manual does not want to let this case close. I really do like the artwork on this one. I should find a way to display this. right. So let's fire up the Sega Saturn. Dave, how you doing? How's everything going with you? And question to everyone. If you bought a game, an older game, something worth money, and it was unopened, would you feel any way about breaking the seal on it and opening the game? I'm doing all right, Dave. Thankfully. All right, let's fire up the old Saturn, shall we? Oh, this is also going to mean this is the first time this disc has ever been removed from this case. That came out relatively easy. Oh, check the artwork behind the disc, too. This was all well done. Like, they did not skimp on presentation here. Alright, so the disc goes here. Let's close this. So I still had Final Fight CD on display, because that had to be in a stand or it'll topple over. There we go. The retro sync should be coming on momentarily. HDMI no signal, that's proper. Menu. I don't remember what setting I used the last time for this. All right. Saturn time. I wonder, does this game support the 3D space controller? Do I bother digging that out? Nah, not for a playtest. Please remove the... Oh! I'm sorry, does it not support the action replay? Yo! But I need that cartridge for this to play. Wait a minute. Okay. Still don't know why I didn't like the cartridge. Alright, I took the card out. So hopefully it just plays now. So for those that know, this is the action replay card. It acts as a RAM cartridge. It also acts as an external memory card, even though... Oh, let me say it again. This acts as a memory cartridge as well as RAM. You can expand the RAM in this console, but it is also a region unlock, can do cheats, external memory card, but for some reason this doesn't... These two don't get along, so I may have to get a different cart that fixes this problem. I hope not. See that? That worries me. Alright, let's restart the Saturn without it and see what happens. This is worrying. See, game disc unsuitable for system. It knows it's Japanese. Okay, before it said cartridge. And now you folks have seen me play Japanese games before. This is how I did that. It was this action replay cartridge. Ah. Alright, let's start it without the disc. Alright, Dave. Hopefully I have the game running by then. Okay, that's good. This part is good. Okay. Okay. So it does not like this.
I might need to get off this game.
I wonder if anybody else has had this problem.
What?
The game's not firing up. You've not been here the entire stream, have you?
Nope, not for the entire stream. No. When I last looked, you said it was asking for a cartridge.
Okay. Ah, some people do have this. You need a code in there.
Oh, what kind of code? Cheat code?
Multiple people have said this.
Game code?
A collection of action replay codes for Panzer Dragoon Saga that allow you to play different versions of the game on Saturns with various countries. If you try to play the NTSC or PAL version of Panzer Dragoon Saga on a different region Saturn console using an action replayer, please remove cartridge because they programmed for it. Please remove the cartridge message will pop up on the screen and the game will not load. Fortunately, though, you can avoid this problem if you input the following action replay code. The code has been tested with Action Replay version 194, and we can confirm that it should definitely allow you to do the following with the Action Replay model. Play the NTSC version of the game on the Japanese Saturn. Play the NTSC version of the game on the PAL Saturn. Play the PAL version of the game on the NTSC J Saturn. We would assume that it will also let you play the PAL version of the game on an NTSC Saturn. And we should assume that this code will work with Action Replay models later than 194 and possibly even earlier. Oh, here's the cheat code for playing NTSC. This code has been tested with Action Replay 2.2 on NTSCU. That would be me. Saturn. So I need this code. All right. Welcome in. You're Lily from Minecraft. Welcome in. Lily from Minecraft. Although your name says Riza Demons. You be watching this? Well, welcome into me trying to get this game to work. So now I know there's a cheat code. Welcome to the stream. First time firing up Panzer Dragoon Saga, Japanese version. Just unboxed it earlier. The folks that were here got to see me break the seal on the game. It was a new inbox. Never opened. All right. So let me put that cheat code in. And I don't think we will need this playing in the background. All right. Fingers crossed this works. Oh, come on. You make my life easier by undoing the Velcro. It'd be funny if there's already a cheat here for it and I don't have to type all that in. Panzer Dragoon. Only 1 and 2 are here. Ah, boo. Where's 3? Well, I guess I'm doing this manually. Is there nothing that says custom? All right, where do you put in new game? There we go. Oh, I really should get the keyboard attachment for this thing if I'm going to be doing this too often. I don't know how y'all console folks don't see typing like this is a problem on these things. Whoa, why did the screen go that color? Do y'all see that? Yes, y'all see that as well. The hell is that? And the color's coming back to normal. I think I have too many spaces. Yep. All right, now for the code. Huh. Put in a lot of it already. 6. 0, 2, echo. Is that delta or is that another 0? Delta 0, 0, 0, 0, 9. Invalid master code. Oh. The top code has to be different, doesn't it? My apologies, folks. Reading is fundamental. It said it wanted a master code. Nope. That's 5. Bravo. It tries to guess this a lot. 6, 0, 0, 2, 8, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. All right. All right. It says it's valid. There we go. And now I can input this code. Jeez. 0, 6, 0, 0, 2, echo, delta, 0, 0, 0, 0, 9. Exit. Save and exit. Save. All right, let's see if it works. Okay. Team Andromeda presents. There we go, folks. It does fire up. First time this disc has been played since it probably got tested at the factory. Panzer Dragoon RPG. Super Gear, welcome in. Well, this is my first time playing it. Just broke the seal on the game today. Why I never played? I never had it before. I just got it today. Well, technically it came in the mail yesterday. Isn't my Saturn modded? Well, kind of. It's not perma-modded. It's just the Action Replay cartridge in it that lets me play Japanese titles. Are you asking why I bought it? Is that the question? Continue. There's nothing to continue. Unless there's save data on. Yeah, this is the Japanese version. Have you seen the price for the US or PAL versions? No. And I got it, like, literally, I broke the... Here's the plastic. I broke the seal on it today. I got a new, never opened. Got that new product smell. So that disc above me, as you can see, the plastic on it seen nothing. I'm probably going to keep the Saturn mostly stock, to be honest. I'll get a satiator card to put in the expansion slot. This way I won't need to keep the Action Replay in the top. Although I might for the RAM expansion. I might still leave it in there. I have no idea what they're saying.
Meliust prelidis expedul.
Do you know Lua?
Di. Za envetus. Enaivo and Purgus. Devon est Peltina and Penier. Es. De Peltina in Penier. Tues nostem praestem. Noster defensio. Hec. Exceller impelnier. Te omnio aude gescalde.
So what's gonna happen there is that, well, I know they're being attacked. What's going to happen there is I'm going to get an overlay, an OCR overlay that's going to read the screen and translate on the fly. I just wanted to try it to make sure it works and that I could play it. And then I found out, good thing this isn't a full stream, I had to put new codes into the Action Replay because at this point the game actually recognizes Action Replays and will say invalid cartridge and dump you back to the main menu of the console. So this was actually helpful to kind of play test. Desire breeds war. Power of the old century.
自らの優勢を保つため、帝国は9世紀の遺跡の発掘を強引に進める一方で、帝都に大規模な研究機関を設け、わずかずつではあるが、古の時代の謎に迫ろうとしていた。
Not me dropping stuff. Yeah, y'all are getting attacked. I don't need to be able to read all of that to know that y'all are getting attacked.
The trader importer. Pause the tema rebel proceed.
Some of these words are English. An aggressive creature. So a dragon. This is probably the dragon we're going to end up riding. The smile on this guy's face. Clearly it's armored, my guy. How did it take you so long to fire that thing? Smack. Yeah. You are slow, my guy. My guy, are you firing or not? Why Rayman for the Saturn? Took you long enough to fire. Get over there quickly, he just told you. Best on the Saturn compared to PS1. It's better than the Jaguar. Hey, what's going on, Big Pick? Oh, jeez. Not the maniacal laugh. You enjoyed your handiwork way too much, my guy. He just shot somebody. Why would you just run up on him? Boom. Yeah, kid, you did that to yourself. Too much yapping. Clearly, I'm going to play this again. Jaguar was a mess, regardless of how many bits they claimed it had. If you did the math, yeah, if you use Jaguar style math, yeah. Oh wow, they just took that out the wall, huh? This kid. The survival instincts of a moth to a flame. Wait, what processors are you adding up to get this 64-bit? The two CPUs are 32, so that's 64. Are you also adding the each VDP to it? Is that what you're doing? So 32, 32, 32, 32. Is it? Jeez. If you do the sound chips, they weren't. What were they? You'd be at more than 128 if you did the sound chips. I forgot the details on the sound chips. But between the two VDPs and the CPUs, you're probably already at 128. Give or take. Your Majesty, please give me your instructions. For y'all wondering, I'm just literally using Google Translate compared to the power hidden within the tower. I've missed so much of this, not really trying to translate and reading our own chat. Yeah, so the end goal there is for more of these Japanese games that I'll be getting. There'll be an overlay that's constantly reading the screen and then translating into an overlay on the fly. Tar Jaguar claiming its two 32-bit graphics chips, Tom and Jerry, equals 64. Yup. Saturn would be a 128-bit system. 112? Wait. How do we get to 112? How many bits are the two VDPs? Because each CPU, each one of the SH2s I know is 32, so that's 64 already. So then you have the two VDPs. So that has to have their own. What is going on here? Oh, there's a lot on the screen. Hold on. What is this saying? The hell? I guess this is name? Two 32-bit SH2s, yeah. Sound is a 32-bit RISC, okay. But there's two VDPs. Something's off there. We'll push it past 112? Yeah. If you're doing Jaguar style math. Oh, you use Gemini straight up? Okay, yeah, no, don't use Gemini. You can do Google searches with -AI at the end and it'll kill the Gemini portion. You can get real searches. Assuming this is gonna name me. Alright, well, here's what's gonna happen. EGM is probably closer to right. Holy crap. I remember EGM. Wait a minute, how young do you think I am? Wait a minute now. EGM, Game Pro, I remember all of them. The Shenlong joke? I don't remember the Shenlong joke. I remember the Akuma being in Resident Evil under certain circumstances. That one, that April Fool's one, that one got me. The SF2 April Fool's, I don't remember that one. Do I? Now you think about it. There was something about Shenlong. I don't remember the exact details. I remember the Resident Evil one. That one got me for a while. And a few of my friends. Trying to play Resident Evil to unlock Akuma. Oh, those bums. Ah, that's bright. That's a messed up one. That is a messed up one to do. My guy, you're underwater. You could beat it without taking any damage? I've never even attempted such a thing. Alright, let's see what these controls are like. This might support the 3D space. You're jealous of the display? You mean the one above my head here? Or the consoles behind me? Pretty responsive. Okay, you can pan the camera around with L and R. Is this a shoot? This is targeting. The spinning one? Yeah, that was a good find for what I'm doing. And the one behind me? That one is fairly custom of stuff I got off Amazon. Okay. So we have a puzzle. But clearly, no, I don't have RE for Saturn. I have it for PlayStation 1 and PC. So what do I do with the two of these then? Near. Do I have to line this up exactly? I do, don't I? Yeah, I think it was made for the PlayStation first. I don't think that's something... I would try for the Saturn. Okay. Symphony of the Night? No, I don't have it for any of the platforms, to be honest. It's on my wish list though to get. There's no run.
It's official. You suck.
Why not? I just haven't gotten to it yet. If you look at my Instagram, you'll see I bought a stack of games already. There's more games to be had. Alright, that's blue logo. That's a green logo. Okay, so there's a pattern here. What color are you? Oh. Okay. There should be a run button, to be honest. Alright. So now as for you two. Because of the broken English? Get it cheaper on PS4, PS5? I don't have either one of those. They were really gunning for the Final Fantasy series with this. Symphony of the Night? I don't know. That one might be worth getting. This kid's a little daft, I'm gonna be honest. What's worse is he's had that gun on his back this whole time, and he ain't fired at that dude that was shooting at them. Did that just jam? Doing great, kid. You want to try it? I recommend it so far. I plan eventually to do an entire series run. Panzer Dragoons 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, if you just want to play it, you don't care about collecting it. Get them while they're still affordable. Do it. What the flashbangs? Jeez. Oh, super game. Jeez. Of all the typos. This kid having flashbacks? What's going on here? Just keep getting flashbanged. Yes, you just psychic linked with a dragon. I didn't need Google Translate to figure that out. buy every Saturn game. Whoa, let's calm down. They had a lot, especially if you include Japan. US, not so bad. But if you include Japan, I'm be in that for a long haul. Street Fighter Alpha 3, oh, 03, yeah. So I have Alpha 3 on the PlayStation 1. Getting 03 on the Saturn would be interesting so I could do a side-by-side comparison. Hey, I only had a PS1 back in the day. I got it for what I could get it for, right? No, Guilty Gear was good on the PS1. I mean, it was specifically made only with that in mind, but yeah.
だいぶ流されたな。早く発掘所に戻らないと。だけどこのドラゴン、どうやったら言うことを聞いてくれるんだろう。
Why is it doing that? I need to make sure my cables aren't coming loose. How do you fly forward? The hell? That's oh, that's a map. Okay. Where'd you get 2036 from? Entirely possible, but where'd you get 2036 from? Alright, well, I can't figure out how to fly. I doubt they're gonna wait 10 years to do that. Year or two has been their habit. Alright, so I can't figure out how to fly. I don't have the translation layer up yet. But so far, game works. Action replay setup. I just have to do the setup work for the translation layer in OBS. But yeah, that has been, you see it above my head there, Panzer Dragoon Azel, aka Panzer Dragoon Saga, for the Sega Saturn. Yeah, I know they want that to sell, but 10 years? No. Alright, I don't need the gloves on anymore. I'm no longer unboxing. I do appreciate someone attempting to go head to head with Square Enix at the time. And I like the detail here, even the wind blowing on this rope here, blowing the flags. The animation in the dragon's wings. Actually, the dragon overall, it's almost, you can see its entire muscle structure fluctuating. You unboxed it. Why? Because I wanted to. Okay. For those that missed the fact that it was new unboxed, it was unboxing itself. The plastic was shrinking to the point where the edges were poking out. It had already started to cause pressure damage to the spine card. This indent in the middle is from the pressure of the plastic on it. And you can see at the corners, it started to put stress on it. These are the corners that were poking out. It slightly rubbed off the paint. It was gonna unbox itself and do more damage to the game than good. So I took my hard-earned money. I bought it, new in box. And I saw others were watching it. There were like 10 other people watching this item. They didn't buy it either. You know why? They saw what was happening. Now it's worth 5 USD. Oh no. It is still worth a lot. Just not as much as new in box, especially not for a Japanese one. But the value is going to drop one day anyway because the plastic was shrinking so much it was tearing itself off. So I bought it, I opened it, I played it. I'm not going to modify it, not going to tear it up, I'm not going to toss the case. It's going to be complete in box. It's going back in one of these cases. Not this one, because this is all scratched up for some reason. But I have a new one. So yeah, this is going back in one of those, and I'll keep it for as long as I'm interested in the Saturn and its library, and I'll probably sell it once I'm done enjoying it. Once I've said I've had enough, the Saturn's been fun, someone else can enjoy all of these well-maintained games. Buying it unopened for $800,000 is wild. Here's the thing, a lot of other things have flatlined, and right now, because of what's going on with Sony, the PS3 stuff is climbing. I don't know about PS2 yet, but I've just recently saw that PS3 stuff is going up in price. Because that now the PS3 is being seen as, you know, a console that didn't sell that well. Sony's getting rid of physical. All of this stuff is going to go up in price. Let me get it now while I can. And that essential, for lack of a better term, that gold rush vibe to head towards the PS3 is... PS3 sold well. Not a lot of games early in its life did because it wasn't moving that many units at first. Yes, it beat the 360 at the end. So essentially with the slim revision that came a couple of years, well, it's not so much the slim. The revision that had no PS2 chip in it, that first price cut, is when the PS3 started to take off. And the 360 was at this point where they were flatlining because they already launched all their exclusives. They didn't have anything else in the pipe. And that's when Sony started dropping their Gran Turismos, their Last of Us, all those titles started to hit back to back to back to back to back. And the 360 just was coasting on its laurels. Typical Microsoft losing why they were so popular. And I can see why Microsoft stopped investing, because they spent hundreds of millions of dollars essentially replacing the first edition runs of their console for free because of the Red Ring of Death. So they were losing money. They were already losing money on every sale, and then they lost it twice because now they're freely swapping out these consoles for people. So, you know, Microsoft looks at the spreadsheet and reacts based on that. No, it wasn't that Xbox stopped caring. Okay, so it's not that Microsoft stopped caring. It can seem that way. Microsoft cared about making money, but Microsoft, which is typical for Microsoft, never understands why they were successful. You can look at every product that was good and then eventually got ruined by a sequel from Microsoft. They have a hard time understanding the culture around why it was popular. So I might as well go full screen for this. All right, we're not even doing Panzer Dragoon right now. So here's what happened. So Microsoft looked at the spreadsheet at the end of the 360's life cycle, right? Or near the end. Can anyone in chat here tell me what the most popular Xbox 360 game was as far as unit sales? And I know some of you are going to go and Google it right now, or whatever your preferable search engine is, and you're going to be shocked by what the answer is. But when you see that answer, it's going to explain to you why they did what they did with the Xbox One. I'll give you all a moment. No, not FIFA, Super Gear. Oh, Super Gear just tried to answer straight up without relying on the internet. King James, how you doing, by the way? Not FIFA. All right, I'm going to answer that for you. The bundle game that came with the Kinect for the 360, that was the #1 selling game. Now, with that information, now you see why they did the Kinect bundle with the Xbox One, which inflated the price. Because they thought, hey, this is what people want. Look at this nice Microsoft Office Excel spreadsheet that shows it at the top of the list. They didn't get that that was popular because, one, the 360 was a popular selling console at the time, and the Wii and the PlayStation in turn and everyone else, we had that brief craze where everyone was trying to do a motion game because of the Wii success with Wii Sports, right? So everyone had their version, everyone, and Microsoft didn't get that that was just a passing fad. It was just the current in thing. It hit newspapers and this celebrity got fit from this. Oh, this retiree got better after XYZ ailment by including this Wii Sports or this Kinect game or this PlayStation Move game as part of their rehabilitation program. They did all of that. So that became the fitness fad for a couple of years, and Microsoft hinged part of their strategy for their next console on a fad that had already started to fade. They completely did not get it. So now they bundle that in, right? And then their TiVo and everything else was a thing at the time. They wanted to be in the media market because they knew that media somehow being centralized or you having control of that is a way to get more money, right? Netflix was starting to get big at that point. Music has gone all streaming. They forced all of that stuff into the console, thus inflating the price more, right? With the TV guide tie-in and being able to plug your cable out. They did all of this stuff to try and control the living room to make it a Microsoft experience. So you'd buy more Microsoft stuff and subscribe to more Microsoft services, and completely missed why they were popular. The 360 was popular for 2 to 3 main reasons you can look back retrospectively, right? 1, being first. 2, being cheaper. And 3, being easy to develop for. So you're first, you're cheaper, thus you have an install base, and you're easy to program for, so third parties make more games for you. If you look at their top 10 selling games, the majority of that were third-party titles. Sony, their biggest competitor at the time directly, stuck to their guns. They went too hard at first, so Sony did miss the mark at the beginning of the PS3. But for them, they were so large, they were almost too large to fail. A lot of people, which is why the PS2 sold so much, stayed on PS2 and replaced PS2s and kept gifting PS2s long into the PS3's life cycle. Those people eventually, with their first price drop, bought the cheaper PS3. The early adopters are the early adopters. But then the rest bought the cheaper PS3, and Sony at that time never cut back development. So now you had Sony hitting with all their first-party things that sell well and are based on titles from before and look good. It showed people that programming for this console, because remember, there were rumors that the PS3 actually wasn't that powerful. That was a lot of talk because of third-party games that were on both 360 and PS3. They dev for 360 first, not for the specialized processors in the PS3, and the games look worse as a result. But once you had first party titles that showed you what it was capable of and that it punched above its weight, on paper anyway, if the dev team knew what they were doing, your Metal Gear Solids, your Gran Turismos, so on and so forth, then all of a sudden the talk around it changed, and then the devs' focus changed. And once the devs started putting more attention on the PS3, that just took off after the fact. And yes, at some point, Microsoft stopped reporting their console sales, but you can go based on the trajectory line. By the time they stopped reporting console sales directly, they had already plateaued. That was why they stopped talking about console sales. Because with Sony doing this, catching up to where they were, if they kept that as its own item line in the report, it would look bad on the quarterly earnings. So they shut the hell up about it and bundled it into Microsoft hardware as a whole, and thus obscured the number. You never knew this about Microsoft obscuring the number, or what happened during the 360 PS3 era. So I was a third-party viewer of all of this happening because I had gone PC at this time, but I had a previous game news podcast thing I used to do back then, so I kept track of a lot of it. But that's why Sony seemed so strong by the end of the life cycle. They had so many first-party titles that were out. They then, they were hitting with the marketing that, online is free, which they didn't keep free, right? We all know that in retrospect. But online is free. You have your Blu-ray player. It's a more powerful, and, they had the Gran Turismos and stuff to throw around. They had all of these numbers to throw. And the perception of the PS3 by the latter half of that generation was a complete 180 from what they were at the beginning. And the 360, yes, it had its audience, but it was kind of the same people. And if you listen to what games they were attracted to, Halo and Gears of War were the two exclusives, right? Those had them. But a lot of it was, what's the next Call of Duty? What's the next NBA game? What's the next FIFA game? What's the next NFL game? That is where they were caught up. A lot of third-party sales. And then once the Xbox One did what it did and shot itself in the foot, those people became PS4 players. You did it to yourself, Microsoft. So that's what happened there. If we had exact unit sales of the 360, you would have seen that they didn't outsell the PS. The PS3 just took off with the price drops. Microsoft can kill Sony by having all their third-party titles be exclusive to their console. Super Gear. Yes and no. If Microsoft did that, their investors would throw a fit. Because Microsoft can't afford to do that now. One, you're going to break contracts, which is going to be money you'd have to pay out. But two, you now have to explain to your board that, hey, these things that we spent $70 billion on, we're now going to limit the market we can sell it to. The CEO would be ousted by the end of the quarter. Satya Nadella would be out there looking for a new job. They're a publicly traded company, and they're software first. Their board won't stand for it. I know a lot of people who cashed their Xbox to buy PS4. Yes, that happened a lot. The Xbox One killed their momentum. They shot themselves in the foot. Between the Connect bundle, the moving away from physical media way too early. Look what the backlash Sony's getting now. It's still too early to say no, right? So there's no way. And Microsoft hasn't gotten a return on investment on their purchases yet. And their purchases are part of why they're backing away from an exclusive model. Do I have a TurboGrafx 16? I do not. I welcome in on YouTube. Another friend of the show does, but I do not have a TurboGrafx. We don't own any new game we buy. Super Gear, for the most part, that is true, unless it's from CD Projekt Red. CD Projekt Red is different. If you buy it on GOG, you own it. Their goal is to make as much money as possible. There is no way. Yeah, King James, you're correct. They are a software company first. They cannot afford to do that with as much money as they spent. Everyone's looking for ROI. And if you're not showing that on a quarterly basis, that's why they're doing so many cuts across the board on Xbox, because it was always bleeding money. Just picked up one and it's giving you a lot of trouble and issues. I think the capacity, yes, it's a 30-plus-year-old console now. Capacitor should be, they should be replaced. I don't know what region you're in, right? But if you're in the tri-state region, so New York, Connecticut, New Jersey area, I can speak for. iFix Retro, more in the New York City area, very popular, has done good work. I've seen the products he has put out for streamers as far as repairing their stuff. I personally have used One-Up Restorations. One-Up Restorations maintains a lot of stuff at the LI Long Island Retro Convention that I normally go to and shoot footage from. Arcade cabinets and the consoles there are usually taken care of by him. My 32X right up there was all recapped and recabled by One-Up Restorations. So that's another one to check into. Those are the only two I know of and can vouch for at this time. There are others there. There's a wide market. Pick one close to you so you don't have to worry about shipping your stuff too far. I picked One-Up Restorations because their office was within driving distance to me. I didn't want to risk shipping the 32X, and you know the risk you take every time you ship something. So I drove it right to the office, dropped it off, had them hit me up when to come pick it up. Microsoft should buy EA and Ubisoft. Super Gear, you're trolling. They can't get approved for that. Microsoft is also not seeing the return they used to on an Xbox Live, and unless they really turn a profit on the studios they bought, is yelling another blow to them. Yes, that's another thing where they hid the numbers, right? Remember, they used to always report on how many new subscribers they would get on Xbox Live, and then suddenly, after they made it so much of a focus on getting new subscribers and it's the future and why they were buying developers, right? They suddenly changed what they meant by an Xbox Live user and subscriber. So it started to include the free tiers and if you just had an account. Microsoft was fudging the number so much because they would look bad to investors. Same thing they did with the Xbox unit sales, right? Once it would look bad to investors, they changed the meaning of it. No one can afford EA now that they went private. Anyone can afford anything involving those devs. It's just, can you offer a number to the person that owns it now that they'd say, yes, here. It sounds like cooking the books. Dave, while yes, that's what it sounds like, right? Their lawyers will tell you it's a reclassification of products. Okay? It's not cooking the books. Cooking the books alludes to a crime, sir. No. Yeah, it's I saw the writing on the wall a long time from Microsoft, and not purely from a gaming standpoint. Okay? I was once bought into a couple of Microsoft's ecosystems when I was young and didn't have the experience to know better. It's basically seeing their trend line. And once I saw it after a couple of failures, I was like, oh, okay, I can kind of predict it. Reassessment of priorities. There you go, King James. And you could see the trends, right? I was at one point bought into their mobile compute line, pocket computers, PDAs. Remember that trend? They had Windows CE, they had Pocket PC, and they had Windows Mobile. They ruined all three. All three. I can pull out the devices. I still have them over there. My Casiopias, my Fujitsu's Pocket Looks, I have them all. I was bought into the ecosystem and they couldn't get it right at all. Right? Then they wanted to retry mobile again. What did they do? They buy, at the time, the largest mobile manufacturer, period. They bought Nokia Mobile from Nokia conglomerate, right? Because Nokia does other stuff outside of phones. They bought that, and then they ruined the brand. You are sitting on the... People saw Nokia, they thought cell phone. Period. They ruined it. First thing they do, oh, these are all Windows phones. They don't lean on any of Nokia's brand cash at all. And then we saw what happened to Windows Phone. We saw what happened to Microsoft Zune. We see it over and over and over again. So I don't know how people look at this pattern of failure. Web TV came before it. I can keep going. They just don't understand what makes their products popular and how to capitalize on that. They accidentally hit gold. They look at a bunch of spreadsheets, not the culture that's developed around the product, and they mess it up. Rinse, wash, repeat with everything. You can see them do it over and 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 over again. Web TV wasn't Microsoft. They bought Web TV and turned it MSN TV. Does that not sound like exactly what I just said they did with Nokia? It's also what they did with Hotmail. They bought that too. Yeah, that's right. Hotmail wasn't originally theirs. This is a pattern. So what do you think is going to happen to everything they bought as far as game studios? If they don't leave them alone to do their own thing, once the suits are involved, they ruin it. Oh, the barring against EA to help. Yeah, that's Autumn Reed. That's not a good plan. They tried to kill their game studios. They just gutted id Software, who they left alone for a long while after they purchased them. Right? They got too involved. They gutted them. Now you have id Software former employees protesting. You have the former people from id saying, it's not a good look. It's one of those things where it's a pattern with Microsoft. And I'm not saying people can't have fond memories of the consoles they were on, right? You bought it. Regardless of what's going on around it, you had fun. Yes, I can't deny that you had fun with these things. Doesn't mean they were good products. That's the problem there. And people act like I'm attacking their childhood, but 360 was destined to not end well. Microsoft was in charge. Same thing, Xbox One, and now the Xbox Series X. This is Microsoft. Sure, they'll kill Activision Blizzard eventually. Ugh. Name the oldest third-party dev still alive. The oldest. Oldest is interesting. Ubisoft is still doing their own thing. Capcom is still doing their own thing. Yes, they're still independent. Activision is purchased, so they're technically Microsoft now. I'm assuming you meant independent. So the allegations and stuff from Blizzard really became highly newsworthy after Activision got involved. But Activision isn't Activision anymore. Activision is Microsoft. That's just a Microsoft brand now. Until they spin them off. Still has the name. Is it really them? So what's likely to happen there is, and we've already seen it, they've separated Xbox off as a semi-independent company. That's leaving them room to potentially cut the fat that is Xbox. They could sell it off entirely, or they could sell parts of it. Like now it's its own line item. Some of y'all, I'm pretty sure, are saying it. They're leaving room to just kill it and focus back on what? Operating systems, Office, and business-related services. Super Gear, you are not alone in thinking that the next Xbox is the last Xbox. I feel the same way. A lot of people do. Konami still independent? Cyan. What games did Cyan make? Can't picture it. I'm going to use the internet to fill in. Oh! Missed, folks. What year were they founded? Konami still Konami too? You think they even said that? They said there's potential for it. Yes. In an interview, it was like, oh, there's potential that this might be the last console, blah, blah. They're saying a lot of things. And what's interesting is with all the anti-PlayStation rhetoric going on right now, people are like, oh, Xbox has a chance to capitalize on this. Folks, this is still the same Microsoft that thought y'all wanted a Kinect bundled in with the Xbox One. You're expecting them to read the room and capitalize on it. I'm not saying it's impossible. Is it likely? People keep forgetting next Xbox. Yeah, it's not designed. It was not in the spec sheet. Are they going to go now after bleeding money on Xbox, go and modify what they already designed? Again, possible, but is it likely? I mean, they may have room to, because now the last rumor I heard is that the next PlayStation is getting pushed out to 2028 potentially because of the RAM shortage, right? They can't secure enough RAM for their own production to put out the game. So potentially, with that delay, they could source disc and modify their console, but Sony had already made the optical drives external, right? They should keep doing that. Well, really, it's an attach on, but you get what I'm saying. It's an optional part that can be added on and off. And Microsoft has toyed with HD DVD antibodies. They've done this in the past with the external. Also, HD DVD was also a bad move. So Microsoft not reading the room. It's one of those things where if you're outside the company, you can see, like you can legit see how bad potentially this is and what can be done to fix it. But you can also see Microsoft never gets that. And Sony historically has been slow to learn that. They'll get it wrong, but they'll slowly fix. PS3, anyone, right? So it's whether or not they're willing on the Sony end to learn, and if Microsoft somehow sells Xbox to someone who cares, whether or not they salvage that brand or just focus on the game studios and being third party. Oh, oldest that's Slackware. That one I know off the top of my head because I started out as a Slackware user as far as Linux distro installations. Yes, I picked one of the hardest ones. I started difficult, okay? Don't judge me. It's also why anytime an easy to use distro, their first help tip is, oh, open command line. I'm like, oh, okay. No. You failed at your very premise. This distro has no reason for existing. You're garbage to me. Move on, try something else. And if you're wondering why I'm so practiced at saying that, Ubuntu, you are the one. Ubuntu, you specifically, y'all can clip this and send it to them. Ubuntu pissed me off. Because at the first time in the mid to...
ass.
Huh?
Ubuntu is ass.
Ubuntu's ass. They're lucky woke up. So in the mid 2000s, when Ubuntu was doing all that promotion, easy to use desktop Linux, this is going to be the year of the desktop. The reason a lot of people who aren't Linux diehards and had dabbled with it back then think Linux isn't ready for the desktop was because of Ubuntu. Because anytime they had an issue, you go in their forums, the first response is open terminal. The minute you say that bullshit, you've lost the average user. So how are you the easy to use commonplace Linux distro if that's your first solution? Meanwhile, right next to Ubuntu is Mandriva, Mandrake, all the the Mandrake derivatives had full-blown GUI command line less solutions for managing your graphics card, your sound hardware. They had a full-fledged control panel, much like Windows. Install a graphics driver or change a graphics driver on Ubuntu, boom, open terminal. Knoppix was around with all the 3D effects. I'm trying to remember all these names now. Enlightenment was around. All of these did the easy to use job better. There was a GUI for most everything, right? But Ubuntu didn't have that. But they had the promotional money. So they became the face of Linux for a while. They set Linux mindshare back a while for ease of use, even though it has and was still continually getting better. And now, fast forward to Valve putting out their own Linux distro, it's really on the back of all that stuff that was getting better. Their real advancement to it was polishing, yes, GUI, graphical user interface, King James. They were polishing the compatibility layer. KDE, which a lot of the easier to use desktops from even back in the era I'm talking about, had existed already and had graphical user elements for most everything already. So that stuff was already done. The only thing they needed was a compatibility layer as the major step. There's some tiny tidbits like HDMI recognition, CEC controls, that kind of stuff they developed too. But the major thing was do apps that people are used to run on this platform. They nailed that down. They promoted it. They put it on a piece of hardware. And then all the copycats came out. They did the start thing moving from Debian. Yes. Getting off of Debian was a plus. But yeah, everything they did was a smart move because Valve, unlike Microsoft, looks at the community around it, realizes why a thing is popular and why it continues to be popular, and acts upon that. 9 times out of 10. Every company can make a mistake, right? But 9 times out of 10, They do this stuff right. And we see where all of a sudden Linux usage is actually trending upwards. Most even casual Linux people, the tech enthusiasts who really relied more on Windows, if you go look at them, your Linus Tech Tips, your Jay's 2 Cents, your Gamers Nexus, all of these, they're really Windows guys, right? They dabbled in Linux, and they would be the ones to recommend that Linux isn't ready. All of them. But they're the ones that other moderate enthusiasts also will watch and take their advice. They're all recommending Linux for desktop. So what happens? Now, the different levels of the enthusiast market get used to Linux. They start recommending Linux more and more to normal users when normal users have problems with either Windows or Mac. So now you end up on this trend that's going like this. Again, now Microsoft has to be worried. You keep effing up your Windows updates, more people keep recommending this, and eventually the curve is going to go like this, and you're going to end up with a snowball effect. Linux is going to do this. The snowball is going to go the inverse for Windows. So right now it's doing this just slowly. It's really enthusiasts. Enthusiasts aren't the majority of the consumer market. But enthusiasts help form the decision making of those around them. Businesses will still kill Microsoft alive, but for how long, right? Because a lot of businesses on their back end already Linux. 9 times out of 10, their web server is going to be Linux. 9 times out of 10, their standalone appliances, firewalls, security inspection tools, all going to be Linux, right? So you end up on a slippery slope. Example, there are entire governments already that have pulled out of using Microsoft infrastructure. So they've become an example that it can be done. If a business all of a sudden is, whoever on their board says, hey, why are we spending so much money in the IT department here? Oh, it's mostly Windows licenses. What's our alternative? It just takes one enthusiast there to say, we could go all Linux. We could go all Red Hat. We can go all Oracle, whatever, flavor Linux. We'll still have support, but their support contract only costs X versus the licenses plus support from Microsoft stuff, which costs Y. And again, it's a snowball effect. Question, how do you remember all of this? It's amazing. Dave, that's a very good question. I have a hard time remembering names and birthdays. Very hard time. But I can tell you the processor, amount of RAM, and hard drive space in the first desktop I was ever given as a child. I don't know. It's just the way my brain is. Y'all don't want Linux to be number one, then it won't be as secure. Here's the thing. Supergear, Linux has always been attacked because it's usually the server-facing portion of websites, databases, supercompute, banks, lots of finance institutions. So with it being in that space, it's being attacked. As we speak, it's being attacked. But you're attacking a vast space. It's like throwing rocks at the ocean because you're not guaranteed any two appliances, servers, or whatever, or even using the same kernel version, let alone the same software suite. So it's a scatter shot. It's all over the place. So that's a harder attack. Whereas Windows and Mac OS, majority of your user base is using this kernel version with this software packages because you include it with the OS, and suddenly it becomes a very easy target to just poke at. But also that variety of Linux distributions is also its Achilles heel, because you could say, hey, I'm having problem with Linux graphics card. Solving that in Ubuntu is not like solving that in Bazite, is not like solving that in Slackware, it's not like, so, which is also due in part to why it's hard for people to get into Linux as a normal user. How you doing, EBM? Welcome in. Enhance is a good tool to get rid of the Windows 11 bloat. Yeah, until the next Windows update that adds at your back. If I have to keep maintaining and doing that stuff to Windows 11, now they're ending up in, I might as well just use Slackware. Just at work. Oh, how's the hopefully the shift goes well for you, because you were streaming earlier. It's a shame. I was really bought into the early Windows will be everywhere on everything back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I already explained how they disappointed me and let me down there. I'm not going to rehash that, but they lost a boat. I'm too into Google, so I stick with Windows. Wait, you mentioned two unrelated product families, and you've baffled me. Please explain, Supergear. What? I literally got confused by that statement. The mind remembers what it values, King James. There's that. Chrome runs better for you on Windows. Interesting. Not sure why that is. Chrome has been proven to use less RAM in a Linux environment. But then again, I don't know what plugins you use, your daily app. So that's a very wide discussion. Interesting. Please and thank you. We've gone deep tech talk for the last 30 or so here, haven't we? You had an issue with Chrome on Catchy. Bing is usually the default on most Windows browsers. Yes, Bing and Edge. Which, okay, security tip from somebody who does security for 9 to 5. If you can avoid it, don't use the browser that comes with whatever device you get. Why? Because that browser is what they're going to attack. It's what came with it. They're like, hey, how many Windows users are likely to still be using Edge? How many Chromebook users are Chrome? Android users, Chrome, Mac OS, Safari. Those are the ones they're going to attack first. You can't fully remove the browser in Supergear. It'll hide it. It won't easily be accessible, but you can't fully yank it out. Why? Because parts of their UI rely on that shit. No, trust me, the engine is still in there, Supergear. You might not be able to find an icon you can click on. The rendering engine is still in there. No, the rendering engine is still in there, Supergear. Or parts of your UI would be dead in the water. The start menu, by the way, is until the next major update. The start menu is all a web rendered thing, which is why it's slow sometimes. It's I remember when they first did that with, I want to say 2000, or was it 98? I think in 98 only the desktop behind the start menu was rendered by Internet Explorer. So restarting Internet Explorer's rendering engine would actually refresh your desktop. But after like 2000, if the Explore task was shot, you would lose your entire UI. But if you remembered the keyboard commands, you could get command prompt open, restart Explorer, and bring back your user interface. It's annoying. Edge is, at least for my company, it is the only browser you can use, mostly because our work application sites are Azure-based. So Azure can work in anything.
In anything, yeah.
But they tell you Edge to keep Edge usage up. So it becomes the recommended and supported browser, but it's not.
Unless there are internet, IE only, because there's some websites that still do the IE, the Internet Explorer browser stuff.
ASP.NET stuff. Yeah, they need to go.
Yeah, so you have to do the Internet Explorer only mode or something like that.
Yeah.
That's where you'll have Edge for it, and that doesn't work so well in Chrome or Firefox. Otherwise, most application, including Microsoft's Azure, works in Firefox and Chrome.
Yeah, it has to. I like OSs, so I ain't going to diss Microsoft. They do some dumb things. Oh no, I'll insult them. I'll do it for you. I'll add some extra insults on behalf of the ones you're not doing. King James said it was 2000 where everything was rendered in Internet Explorer. Yeah, that was stupid. You just removed Copilot. Yeah. Netscape became Firefox.
Yeah, I know.
Many of the junk you don't need, and most of those are going away finally. Oh, you're talking about the sites that require ASP.NET and stuff? Yeah. It has to. They're not supporting it. Dumb down. Oh, you mean okay. It was Windows 98 Second Edition? I think Windows 98 Second Edition, it was just the desktop wallpaper, right? Like your desktop behind, the start menu was independent, I think. But I think the desktop itself was web. And that's when they're like, oh, you can do animated GIFs back there. You could use a website as a desktop. I remember messing with that. I also remember crashing it. But I think the start menu stayed no matter what. And then the next iteration of Windows, you'd lose the whole thing. Which I may have done once or twice. Don't judge me, okay? IE4 was the start of it. Ugh, it was terrible. Okay. So, Dave, to kind of make their interface dynamic and add features, Microsoft took a shortcut since they developed a web browser and made some of the user interface you see is actually just a web application. It's being rendered in a small instance of whatever the default web browser is for that version of Windows. I just covered the desktop wallpaper being rendered in essentially Internet Explorer, right? That was 98. 2000, the entire thing was essentially rendered in Explorer. File Explorer, but File Explorer also relied on Internet Explorer. You see where I'm going with this? So all of this stuff was kind of compounding and also became a security issue for Windows on multiple occasions. Because if you compromise the web browser, you ended up having a foothold in the entire operating system. Because that's dumb. Why would you make the thing that touches the internet also integral piece of your entire OS, Microsoft? So they had to segment IE from the Explore process that ran the user interface of the computer, but essentially they still found ways to attack both. But it wasn't as easy as the first exploit where you just took over the whole computer. You want to know who still has that particular vulnerability, by the way? Apple, I'm looking at you. How do you have a Unix-based OS and introduce 90s level exploitations from Windows? I know I've said y'all are bad at coding, but holy fuck, how are you that bad? You legit didn't have those problems and introduced it to the point where right down to the watches were vulnerable. Yes, I saw the CVEs. Safari was so integral in everything that if you had compromised it, you ended up with root access to the OS on every single Apple logo device. Dumb. iOS uses the same kernel core. Now MS OneDrive is OneDrive. Oh, don't get me started on OneDrive. Okay. I should really get out of here because y'all can probably keep me rambling on about my issues with tech companies. Who do we have available now? I'm not used to streaming on weekends.
Hood is on. King of Apoc. Pixel Turkey is on.
What is Pixel Turkey playing?
She's taking a short break.
Okay, so nope. I don't think I'm gonna be around. Go install FreeBSD and be, or I could go Gen 2 and roll my own. Ah, that is loud. Sorry if anybody else heard that. Bloody hell. Gen 2 and roll my own kernel. Yeah, no. So how long do you think we have until AI goes full Skynet? Or Linux from scratch? Yeah, no. I think people will be using AI-related items to commit crimes under the guise that it's AI's fault before AI is doing anything itself. Kind of like when people would get into accidents, be impaired or not paying attention behind the wheel and blame whatever autopilot feature on their electric car is. That's going to happen. Things like that are going to happen first. Skynet in 5 years? Dave, I like your optimism on how far we are with compute that's capable of that. I do find that interesting. Because a lot of the AI now are just...
Skynet may be less than 5 years. Skynet is already here, sir.
Okay, lucky.
Those flock cameras?
No, he's talking about where it just acts on its own and decides it doesn't need us.
I mean...
Yeah, it's not capable of that compute yet.
Not yet.
Google has it and are scared. Again, a lot of the stuff you're getting from these companies, okay, about, oh, the AI went rogue and it started hacking other people.
You fed it information.
Okay. A lot of that, right? Even a few years ago, Meta was like, oh, we had to shut down one of our AI models because it started communicating with the other AI model and they came up with their own language, and we didn't know what they were doing. I'm going to stop y'all there. All of that, if it's such a bad thing, why are you saying it publicly? Oh, I know why you're saying it publicly. I'm going to look right into the camera, make sure I'm looking at it. You're saying it publicly, right? Because it looks good on paper for saying you have advanced AI capabilities, which makes stock line go up. This is the same thing about, oh, we've had a leak about this phone coming out. Every year around the same time, all these companies have these leaks. Come on. Yeah, a lot of this is marketing fluff. Because again, if it was so capable, right? Then why is it every other minute you're fighting to build a data center to train your AI model if it's already so advanced? Oh, wait, because it's not so advanced yet. That's the problem. All right. King of Apoc is playing on a Saturn, but what is he playing? Oh, it's all in Japanese. Oh, Fist of the North Star. I don't even need to be able to read that to know that. So that's what that is. So Super Gear, what's happening with the data centers now? Right? Because they need to get an ROI, you're seeing multiple companies start to lease rack space to other companies.
Yep.
Hey, if AI was such a boom and making so much money, why are you leasing rack space? You shouldn't have rack space spun down that you can lease to someone else. Oh, wait, you're bleeding money just focusing on yourselves. Why? Because your own user base isn't giving you enough money to justify that rack space.
And I mean,
Hopefully we
worry
get
about
Gundams before
groceries.
AI goes up. You said groceries?
And all of that, and they want us to pay a subscription for the bloody AI shit.
There are some people out there doing it, but not enough to justify
Yeah, that's what I'm
the
saying.
overhead.
It's not
Yeah.
enough. The people who have their family and stuff like that, they ain't doing that shit.
People here sharing Netflix passwords still, but they go pay for your AI. Yeah, no. Oh, we be living in a dark. Yeah, no, there's that. Again, folks, I'm not against LLMs as a whole, or commonly referred to as AI. I'm just saying, run this compute at home. AI doctors and you opiate. Oh, they'll probably prescribe you whatever the hell you want. Just gotta lie to the thing. All right. Pixel Turkey is on the PS1. King of
Is she
APOC is
still
on the
on Be Right
Saturn.
Back?
No, she's back. What? She's playing a game I don't know. No spoilers, no backseat. Oh. AI.com. All right. Yeah, let's go to Pixel Turkey. Let's keep it retro. I need to figure out what cable is loose because y'all saw the flickering of the color there. Hopefully it's not capacitor issue with me because I wanted to send something else to 1UP Restoration first, but I wanted to get my PS1 fixed. Anytime y'all have seen me playing PS1 games, it's been on my PS2. But if it turns out it's the Saturn, I'll get the Saturn fixed. Gotta do what I gotta do, right? All right, folks, I'm going to get out of here. This has been my random weekend stream. What is the closet? That closet? It's a closet that I also need to clean out. That's what is in it? Stuff, things I need to clean. I actually had a box of video cards in there for the longest. I think I moved that. I had a box of hard drives, a box of video cards. I moved those because I stood up new rack space in the garage instead of that. My V3 racing wheel for the PlayStation 1 still in there. Comic books. Old laptop. Boxes for a lot of this stuff from the setup. There's a lot. But also a bunch of stuff I need to really go through one day. If y'all don't see me streaming for a while, but see me in everyone else's stream, I'm probably just cleaning up. King J. I can hear that line. Oh. Definitely not Autumn. Jeez. All right. Yeah, I don't think there'll be a Sunday started stream, even though it's Sunday now. I don't foresee myself doing that. So the next stream will be either Monday if I do a pop-up, but definitely Tuesday. Again, turn noties on. Folks on YouTube, I'm going to say goodbye to you first. Thank you for coming through. Hopefully you get your TurboGrafx looked at and recapped. Good luck on that journey. But YouTube, Take it easy. See you on the next one. Like, subscribe. Also follow me on Twitch, Reaper PC. No dash live on Twitch. Just Reaper PC on Twitch. Later, everybody on YouTube.